What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the 17th episode of the Niche Notable Podcast with Nick and 40. Today's an extremely important podcast for me. We got Mikey BearDown, cuz Mikey's a North Jersey Italian. He's from Nutley, and he's the co-host of the Brillitantly Dumb Show with Robby, Berger, and Joey Coldcuts, which is my personal favorite show every Tuesday after Tuesday. I'm there. He's a passionate Buckeyes and Bears fan, and in my humble opinion, he's the best ball knower on social media. So there you go.
Some should agree, most should agree, but a lot don't. But that's okay. That's all right. That's why we keep grinding it out every day. But thanks for having me on, Nick. I don't say yes to these really too much anymore because of just how insane my schedule is with the kids and everything. But when I saw you had reached out and I saw there was a vowel at the end of your name and that you're from New Jersey, I was like, well, you know what? I was like, there are exceptions to the rules. You gotta look out for your own, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. But in all seriousness, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
It means a lot to me, for sure. All right, so heading right into it. How did you first meet Joey and Robby and get involved with the Brillitantly Dumb Show?
Yeah, so I think a lot of stories now from people start with, during COVID. I feel like that's like one of the popular openers to a lot of stories these days. So yeah, during COVID, I really was not aware of Bob's content. I'm not really as much as I am involved with, my own content and the Brillitantly Dumb Show and the Breezy Opens and all the content I do. I'm really not a gigantic consumer of too much content. I could count on one hand how many podcasts I listen to, if any. And during COVID, it was just we were at home so much that somebody, I forget who, one of my buddies texted me and he's like, yo, you should check out this this happy hour, this virtual happy hour on this app called Patreon, which I use now actually also. You got to check this virtual happy hour out and just get in the mix. He goes, this guy runs it. He's pretty funny. And he just has random dudes in there. And there's a bunch of characters in there and they just start talking. So I went in there and, the first couple times I really didn't say much, but Bob was in there. And Bob at the time, I want to say, had maybe 100,000, 150,000 followers on social media then. He was not what he is now because now he's just a monster. But back then, when I first went in, they had the guy from Entourage, the one who Jersey Jerry beefed with, that guy, Kevin O'Connell. And this guy was in there, and I'm like, well, this is so random. I go, why is this guy from Entourage in here? And I was just really quiet the first episode, or the first happy hour I went into, but I did think it was funny. It was a way to kill time on a Thursday night, because honestly, at that point, my wife and I only had one kid. She wasn't working and I was working from home a couple days a week. So really I had so much time to kill. I was like, well, what the else am I going to do? Started going back into the happy hours. And then I took the mic a couple times. And once I took the mic a couple times, I guess Bob liked what he heard and we kind of started rapping back and forth a little bit more. And then he would kind of integrate me more and more as a regular staple character that would get revolved around the microphone like myself. Joe really, I don't remember Joe in too many of the happy hours. I remember, guy Matty Rigatoni. I remember Nikki Smiggs was in there all the time. Jersey Jerry was in there a lot of times. And there were just these various characters that would show up every week, and more certain guys Bob would lean on to talk a little bit more. And every week I was getting leaned on a little bit more and more. And then when Jerry left for Barstool, which I guess was around 2021, I want to say around then, right in the middle of COVID or end of COVID, Bob was having him on the Brillitantly Dumb Show, and it was basically, Brillitantly Dumb Show back in the day was basically just Bob running a one-man show by himself, and then Jerry would get integrated, and Jerry was kind of Bob's sports guy. And when Jerry left for Barstool, that was the only original intention. Bob, talked to me on the side, and he's like, listen, he's like, I'm going to start working with this company, and he's like, I really would like you to come on the Brillitantly Dumb Show and do a 10 to 15 minute segment for the football week. Okay. So we were doing that, and 10 minutes turned into 20 minutes, 20 minutes turned into a half hour, and eventually he's like, listen, I just want you on the show the whole time. Me and you will run the show. Okay. And then finally Joe got involved because me and Joe kind of had a little beef to start off with. That's kind of the genesis of how one became two and two became three. And the rest is history.
Yeah, so for me, I haven't missed an episode. I think it's been like a year and a half or so.
That's
And
awesome.
so this past fall, it was my first season starting as kicker, and definitely mentally, like I don't know if I was really ready for it. But like one thing that was consistent was like every Tuesday, like I knew I had something that would like keep me centered, keep me like in a good spirit almost. So I think it was week 4. I had like a really terrible game, but and like that following week, like it's the worst feeling having to like head back into the locker room, like. You can either like, face the music or just like let, the moment sort of take control of you. And I was like, yeah, I listened to your guys' podcast. I don't know what you guys were talking about that week, but for whatever reason, it put me in the mindset to like, just, life's, it's too short to like just not be happy and enjoy the moment, just take appreciation for what I'm doing. So I thank you for that. I thank Bob and Joey for a lot.
Oh, dude, that means a lot. Whenever anybody like takes anything serious out of our show, I mean that's impressive because our show is really like 98 to 99% just 3 guys being total jerk offs the whole time. But yeah, I mean, look, I would imagine you're in your early 20s or what are you,
21.
21? Yeah, I mean, look, you're at Yale. I mean, Yale, I mean, that's impressive, so I mean, automatically right off the bat, that's incredible. I love to hear stuff like that, especially again, somebody from Jersey, somebody not only from Jersey, but from my county, Essex County, which is even, even more near and dear to my heart. I've worked in Essex County basically my entire career. I live in Essex County. So Essex County is near and dear to me, was born here. So, yeah, anything that you could get out of the Brillitantly Dumb show more than just watching eat all this nonsense is always a positive. So, yeah, I thank you for that. And the Yale thing, I mean, the Yale football thing, I'd like to dive deeper into that, man. I got to invest myself in the Bulldogs this year.
So this is the first year that Ivy League teams can get into the FCS playoffs. So the winner is an automatic bid, and then we might have an additional – at-large bid. So this is a big year for us. This will be my final season. So
and who won? Who was the best team last year? Princeton.
Last year it was a 3-way tie with Columbia, Harvard, and Dartmouth. But we had won 2 years, the past 2 years prior. So ready to get back on track this year.
One of my brother's really good friends, one of his best friends, played at Princeton when Princeton was very good. But yeah, I got to definitely. His name? It's Dave Patterson. And Dave Patterson is actually the all-time, I think he's still the all-time leading tackler in Princeton history. I think. Still the all-time leading tackler. Yeah, he was a animal, the kid.
That's awesome.
But I got to invest my time in the Ivy League this year. I got to show the Ivy League a little bit more love. I was showing Conference USA love 2 years ago. My like off the beaten path team that I was showing love to. 2 years ago was New Mexico State when Pavia was there. And like I was on the Pavia train very early. Diego Pavia, before he went to Vanderbilt and before he beat Alabama. And then last year, I don't know who like my sweetheart team was last year, really. I don't know. Last year college football was a wild ride. So this year though, for sure, I'll be paying attention to Ivy League now.
I appreciate it for sure. Yeah. So getting in, you're a Ohio State fan. Week 1, you got Arch Manning coming into the shoe. What is your prediction for that game? Unbiased prediction. What are you thinking?
Yeah, going to be a tough game for Ohio State. Going to be a tough game. I know people are really high on Ohio State this year, but when I break down, how successful I believe a team will be, the reason I thought last year's team, and I didn't know too much about Will Howard. I mean, I knew what he did at K-State. I thought he was going to be a really athletic, good, strong, big guy. Like he's built he's a huge kid. He's like 6'4", prototype body. Super athlete, like for a white dude, he could scoot really well. Underrated part of his game, but I didn't know like how well he was going to do. But I did think that the team they had last year coming into the year, I was like, this to me is it. This is the team. I go, and obviously, they lost the game at Oregon, but that was I kind of chalked it up to tough game early in the season, still figuring things out, like. Could have won the game very easily. A lot of stupid mistakes. Defense won't blow games like that. And then obviously the Michigan game was a total nightmare. Everyone knows that. It was a Buckeye fan, and every Michigan fan is still, savoring that victory like they won the national championship, and that's fine. They have a right to do that. But last year, I just felt like that team was a national championship built team front to back. This year, everyone's so high on Ohio State again, and I think they're the favorite for who's going to win the national title. I think Ohio State is the favorite. And to me, offensively, they have weapons out the wazoo. But to me, the defense, I worry about the D-line because they lost everybody. They lost Tyleik Williams. They lost Jack Sawyer. They lost JTT. So, you just don't replace guys like JT Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer because these guys were seniors. They were grizzled veterans. They were 5-star mega recruits, both of them coming out of high school. Tyleik Williams was an extremely underrated player in the middle against the run. He was, he went in the first round of the draft. He's an absolute stud, like underrated. Like, you don't just replace guys like that. So to me, I have to see how that D-line's going to look. If the D-line's not going to get consistent pressure on the quarterback like Ohio State, they'll get in shootouts and they'll probably lose a couple games. Like, and that Texas game could be one of them. Now, Texas, I know, lost a lot of guys too, but I don't think, like, anyone who says, like, Ohio State's just going to, like, run through, that's not going to happen this year. Like, it's going to be a challenge for them until they could prove that they're still strong enough on the defensive side, particularly the front seven. They returned Sonny Styles, who's probably their biggest leader on defense next to Caleb Downs, but Sonny Styles, he's a linebacker. He's like the one guy in the front seven that could kind of captain the ship. But if the D-line, again, is not getting pressure consistently on the quarterback, it's going to be tough. They need to see who's going to step up there. So I got to see what happens across the front first. But that's not going to be an easy game. That's a rough draw for the first game. Texas is going to be out for blood. So, I mean, losing the way they lost in the Cotton Bowl, they're going to be out for blood.
Yeah, I think that could be one of the most highly touted college football regular season games of all. Hopefully, College Game Day is there. I got a question for you. So I'm sure you tune into College Game Day every week. If you were to be the fan that gets called out to do the field goal and you had 5 tries, do you think you could nail one of those?
I think I would phone a friend, and I would phone Nick Conforti, and I'd fly him out there.
Yeah.
Have him take the kick for me. I'd bring in the ringer. If I had 5 tries, what's the yardage on it?
It's 33. It's an NFL extra point.
Yeah, I think I can make one. I think I can make one. I do. I think I can make one. I'm just going to say that. I don't know if I'd make it on the first try. I don't know if I'd make it on the second, but I do think 5 tries at 33 yards. I think I could make one. So you're kicking it from what, the 15 or the 15 or the 17-yard line?
No, it's the 23-yard line. That's where the holder will be. That's where Kirk Herbstreit will be holding the ball. Yeah.
23. Right, so then it's not, but then there's 17 yards, but it's not.
You snap it from the 15 and then kick it from the 23.
Right, the ball's getting snapped, but the line of scrimmage is the 15.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I meant by that. So, yeah, I think I'm making one. If the snap was from the 23, I'm not making it. I don't think I'm making it. But that 8-yard cushion, I think that could be the difference. So I do think I can make that.
Yeah, our first guest, I had Mitch Jeter on, the kicker from Notre Dame that hit the game winner against Penn State.
Oh, Jeter, yeah.
So I asked him, I was like, what's a more difficult, like, high-pressure situation, like his kick or, the College Game Day kick? And obviously, it's his kick. But the atmosphere of, like, Kirk Herbstreit, his dog was, like, roaming around. You're kicking with your shoes, your sneakers. It's
Kirk
a Nerf football.
Being in Kirk's company would not, like, bother me. I've been in Kirk's company a couple times. I've met him a couple times. He's one of the nicest guys ever. Like, just one of the nicest guys ever. Couldn't be nicer considering, like, who he is and his status and everything like that. Just a gentleman. So I think Kirk would calm my nerves. I don't think he would make me. Now, if you had Desmond Howard out there, and Desmond Howard's out there chirping me in the ear about some Michigan, and I got to listen to that nonsensical homer that he is. He's a homer. He's one of the most ultimate homers. Not objective whatsoever. Like, it's just like, and he knows it, and he doesn't care, and he flaunts it, and good for him. But if he was out there, then I would say it's a little bit more of a pressure. So if they really didn't want me to make that kick, I would say put Dez out there and let him try a little bit. Yeah.
So you're also a Bears fan. What do you think that has a better probability of happening? OSU going back-to-back natty or the Bears making the offs? Not the Super Bowl, just the playoffs.
Probably Ohio State going back. bro. I would love to say the Bears making the playoffs. I don't think that's a huge ask, but the NFL is the NFL is just such a different animal. Like, it truly is like any given Sunday. Like, I understand the Chiefs recently, like they only in recent seasons, like they rarely lose regular season games. But really, like, outside of outlier franchises like that, like, it is a week-to-week league. And any week, these teams could just lose to any team. And then if you're not a great team, and the Bears are certainly not a great team, not yet, like, it's even that much more difficult. So, like, if you're a great team in the NFL, now with a 17-game season, if you're a great team, like, I would consider winning 13 or more games great. That's a great team. If you win, if you go 13-4, you're a great team. I think if you go 12-5, you could almost be considered a great team. But I'll say that's very good. So I'll say the cutoff is at 13 wins. So 13 wins or more, I think you're a great team. Okay. Now that means you could still lose 5 games. Now think about how many non-great teams there are in the league. There's a ton of not great teams in the league. Those are the teams that are going to fall between like 9 and 12 wins. Like those are, and those are like the good to very good teams. So, like, a team that's mediocre or bad, like, it's just so bad. And it's just so hard. So, you know, the division that they're in, Jordan Love, and now you got to see what J.J. McCarthy's going to do in Minnesota. And you got to see what the Lions look like without Ben Johnson. And more importantly now, I think without, you know, Hall of Fame center, as far as I'm concerned, Frank Ragnow, who I don't know why he retired. I think that shocked everybody. So you're losing the anchor and the captain of the offensive line. You're losing the offensive coordinator who made that offense, who made Jared Goff look like an MVP. So, you know, there's questions there. Now, I still think the Lions have a better season than the Bears. But I would say Ohio State going back to back only because of how difficult it is to win in the NFL. Not to say it's not difficult to win in college. It's hard to win in college, but it's not as hard as the NFL. It's different. It's different than the NFL. But now winning the playoff in college, I mean, what Ohio State did, win 4 games against top 5 teams, I mean, it was improbable what they did. So that was very, very difficult. The new format in the playoff makes it that much more difficult, but I'll still go with Ohio State because I got to see the Bears make the playoffs to believe that they're capable of making the playoffs. Like, I'm not going to just pick them to make the playoffs because I'm a Bears fan. I got to see it first. You know, my father always said, I'm from Missouri. I'm from the show me state. You got to show me. So they got to make it first.
I got you. We had the Tennessee kicker on 2 weeks ago, and he said the coldest game of his life was playing at Ohio State during that playoff game.
They didn't want any of that smoke.
They didn't want it at all.
I wish I was on that podcast because I would just tell him flat out. I'd be like, look, bro, I've talked to a couple people who are intimately involved with that game. They wanted no part of that game. None.
No part of it.
They wanted no part. And the best, they were there with the shirts off in the pregame. And, you know, am I the first non-kicker interview on this show?
No, we had a couple lacrosse guys.
Okay.
And then a tennis, but yeah.
All right.
I think
just because you mentioned 2 kickers right off the bat.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see if it was kickers only, and I was getting, you know, special
treatment.
No. Okay.
And then I had a guy, James Nicholas, who just qualified for the U.S. Open next week. He played golf at Yale, and now he went through like local qualifying.
Oh, nice,
so
nice.
He'll be out there.
Yeah. No, you play golf at Yale, man. That's like, man.
He played football and hockey. He was recruited for hockey, but he played football his freshman year there too.
Oh wow, okay.
So he's a stud. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're golfing at Yale, man, you've done well for yourself. You really have.
For sure.
Like, you've really done well if you're golfing at Yale. Like that's good. Really.
His grandfather did Joe Namath's ACL surgery back in the day. Like the famous, like it was just a ridiculous fact that he brought up, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world.
Listen, if my grandfather operated on like, you know, Joe Montana's, you know, Achilles, I would bring it up too. I really would. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. So after college, like, what's the best game day atmosphere that you've been at in college football? Like, what are the top 3? You know, whether it's, I'm sure you've been to the game a few times, like heading down to you know, Oxford, Mississippi. Like, what are the best 3 environments that you think are out there for fans?
Yeah, the Grove at Ole Miss is definitely up there for sure, if not number 1. I'll tell you this: I've been to it several times. If you have the opportunity to go to a whiteout game at Penn State, it's. I mean, I would say this: if you're an opposing fan, I would be very careful. But, like, if you're just a neutral fan and you want to experience one of the craziest things ever, and certainly if you're a Penn State fan and you haven't been there yet, you're doing yourself a disservice. But whiteout games at Penn State are they're the most insane, think you may die environments you've ever placed yourself in ever. The stadium literally, the stadium, it shakes, it like billows. It kind of like does like a wavy motion, and you could feel it when they start jumping up and down. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So I would say the craziest is the whiteout. Now, I don't know if that means it's the best. Like, there's nothing fancy about Penn State tailgate. Nothing. There's nothing like, I don't even want to say fancy because fancy is not the right word, but there's no frills with the Penn State. You're in the middle of of farmland up on a hill. They have it built like it's a cathedral to football. It's up on a mountain. Every radio station that you turn the dial to in Pennsylvania is carrying the Penn State game. It is like a religion out there. No frills. So I wouldn't say it's the greatest like experience in terms of like the town and everything like that and the campus. I wouldn't say that. I would say the Grove is better. Texas is pretty cool also, and Austin's is very cool. Georgia's very cool. I've been there between the hedges against Auburn at a night game. That was awesome. But in terms of like in-stadium experience of insanity, the whiteout is second to none. And that's why if ever Ohio State's got to play there and it's a night game, I always dread it because it's just the environment is just so brutal. It's just so brutal.
Yeah, both my parents went to Penn State, so I'm dying. I've never been to a whiteout game. I got to get out. That's
crazy.
That's first on my list.
I think they're doing Oregon this year for the whiteout game.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is like, I hope. And look, see, Penn State fans, they hate Ohio State. They hate Ohio State. Me, I could give two. We always beat you. I just like, it's like Penn State thinks that they're this big rival for Ohio State. They're not. They're not a rival. It is certainly a game on the calendar you circle every year because you know it's going to be a great game. Penn State's always got a great team. There have been classic down to the wire games that James Franklin has somehow managed to bungle all the time. But like, I will, in that game against Oregon, I will be rooting vehemently for Penn State. Vehemently, because this Oregon fan base, man, let me tell you, people want to talk annoying fan bases. Let me tell you, I have never, outside of Michigan, and Michigan fans have the right to chirp Ohio State fans and vice versa, because that rivalry's been going on since your great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was alive, over 100 years. Oregon comes into town, new kid on the block. They've won the Big Ten. Congratulations, you won a conference championship. They've never won a national championship. They've never accomplished anything to that magnitude. They're not a blue chip program. And their fans, Oregon fans, were some of the most delusional, outrageously preposterous, I couldn't believe some of the things that were coming out of their mouth. Just complete nonsense. And delusional. That's the best word I could use to describe. They're delusional. These people, and I tried to give them credit too, because I like Dan Lanning. I happen to think that Dan Lanning is a really, really good coach. But their fans are so bad that they make it impossible to even say anything nice about them, because they just think who they are, because they got a lot of money. They have all the fancy uniforms, and they're a fast team, and they're a very trendy team, and Oregon, Nike and Phil Knight and all this. But at the end of the day, Oregon's got to win something. You got to win something. You got to win a national championship to be in a conversation, to even be considered, a top tier program. They're not. They're a new kid on the block. So that game, please, Nick, get out to that game. Well, you probably can't because it's during the season, so you're screwed
Next
on
year,
that. But
year after,
yeah. I mean, if you're watching it on TV, I'll be vehemently rooting with you. I imagine you root for Penn State because of your parents. So I'll be rooting very hard against the Ducks. I can't stand them. I can't stand their fans. I just can't. They're brutal.
Yeah, so one of my best buddies goes to Ohio State. He talks about the big noon kickoff all the time. I just want to get your thoughts on, are you a fan of it, or are you with the majority of people who think it's...
Yeah, so I'll be very diplomatic how I answer this, because I'm actually doing some work now with the Triple Option podcast, and Fox is one of our partners. So, but I will say this: Ohio State needs to be hosting night games against big time opponents. They have to be able to get at least one night game. Now they're going to play Ohio this year. That night. That's the night game, is they're going to play Ohio. They need to get like this Texas game. really, really should have been a night game. And they were going to make it a night game, and Fox was like, yeah, we'll do it on Sunday night instead of Saturday, and we'll make it a night game. And Texas declined. They wouldn't do it. They want to prepare, I guess, more. They want to have more time to prepare for San Jose State. I know those Spartans are tricky at the beginning of the year. But, yeah, Ohio State needs to host a night game every year against a major opponent, whether it be out of conference or in conference, because it's just not right that fan base doesn't get to do that experience. Like they don't get to have the night game experience. It's a different vibe, man. And look, people will tell you like, well, it's a lot more raucous and it's, the kids, it's dangerous. I mean, it's college, man. Like it's college. Like, come on. People forget that they were ever 20 and 21. And I mean, look, I'm almost double your age now, bro. I'm pathetic. I'm 39, but I remember that, bro. Like, if I was in college, I'd want to go to a night. If they told me every game was a night game, I'd be so excited. But even at my age now, like, I would love to see my Buckeyes play more at night against good opponents. Like, great. You're giving us Ohio, like, okay, it's going to be fun, I guess, but like, give us some good ones against big opponents, like the Texas game. Would have been perfect, but it's not. But, the big noon kickoff, it serves its purpose, certainly for some games. Like Michigan, the game should always be played at noon. 1 year and 1 year only, it was a 3:30. That was the 1-2 in 2006. The year Ohio State lost to Florida in the national championship game. Urban Meyer, Florida. Tim Tebow, well, Chris Leak was the quarterback, but Tebow was the backup. But that was the only year it wasn't a noon game, Ohio State, Michigan. That's the one game that, like, Fox could get that all day long. Big noon, Ohio State, Michigan has to be high noon. But yeah, I would love some more night games.
Yeah. But moving on now. So we got back to the Brillitantly Dumb Show, if you don't mind. Who's like your dream guest that you can have on the pod? Is there like one guy that you have in mind? Maybe Urlacher or, I don't know, Kirk Herbstreit or somebody?
We're going to have Dana on. We're going to have Dana White on. That's like a done deal. We're just ironing out the date. Like people are like, oh, Bob, like that's not. No, that's a done deal. Like it's done. We're just waiting to work out the coordination with his assistant on the date. But that would be a big one for me. I really would love to get Joe Rogan, man. Like speaking of Dana, like I would love to get Joe Rogan because if I could pick any podcast I would like to go on to, I would like to go on to Joe Rogan's podcast once I retire from my job and I could really start speaking the way I'd like to speak all the time,
I got you.
and be a little more public about certain things. But Joe Rogan, I would say, is definitely one. Sports-wise, if I'm just looking, like he's kind of sports-related, but sports-wise, I'm a big, like, I would love to have like a Barkley. I mean, Charles Barkley, I feel like would just, or even Shaq. I mean, either of them. I feel like they would just, it would be so like natural conversation with either of those guys. So I would say those two, if not Rogan.
I think the Kelseys, they just had Shaq on yesterday or something like that. So
Ryan Clark just had Shaq on recently, like last week or this week.
Those guys are killing it for sure. And then if you had to have a fourth co-host between the three of you, who's that one guy that you want to add on? Permanent position.
I mean, I guess the most natural fit would probably be Perez. It would either be Perez, I guess, or if you picked out of a hat and you told me it would be Perez, Jet, Ticket, or Jerry, I would say any of those four because Jerry's already been there. He knows exactly what we're all about, so he would be natural fit. I mean, I knew Jerry kind of around the same timeline, maybe a little before I even met Bob. So because Jerry's right around the corner, was right around the corner from me. So we had same group of friends. But yeah, I mean, any of those four guys, pick a name out of a hat, I think they would all do great.
Absolutely. Those guys are the best. And then, so you guys have been doing the challenges every week. You did the cinnamon and then the hot chip. I got an idea. I'm just throwing it out there. What if you do like a gnarly concoction? So like you pick one guy, say it's Joey's turn, whatever, and you and Bob decide like random assortments of stuff to put in, like ketchup, Gatorade, just like pickles, disgusting stuff. Put it all in one. I feel like that would be a decent little challenge.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I just like, yeah, that would be tough for me. Like, I have a pretty strong stomach when it comes to like normal stuff, but if it comes to like weird stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm probably up next, man. Like, I'm probably due, because now these guys, and now Joe really, like, it wasn't even his turn to do the cinnamon challenge, and he was like, I'm going to do it. And when he was going up to get I was talking to Bob. I don't even know if it made it on the show, but I was like, I ain't doing it, so don't fess me. Because I was like, I feel like I've paid my dues in the challenge game on the podcast with the eating stuff that probably like shaved years off my life. So like I'm definitely up next though. Like I owe them one now.
Yeah, what's your go-to? Like after one of those challenges, are you hopping on the Peloton? You're jumping in the sauna for like 3 days straight?
Dude.
What's your go-to just like way to work it off?
So honestly, the Spankies challenge, the burger, I did a challenge where like you had to finish this 5-patty cheeseburger with a pound of French fries, and this burger's like it's not like a McDonald's patty, it's like a regular like diner patty. So it was like 5 patties, pound of fries under 12 minutes or under 15 minutes, and like they had a leaderboard already, and the kid who had the record at the time did it like 6:30. And I did it in 6:09 or 6:06, I forget, but it's still the record. No one's beaten it yet. That's now 2 years. We're going on 2 years. That was so much worse than the 50 nuggets. Like the 50 nuggets sucked. The Wendy's 50 nuggets, I ate them in like 5 minutes or 5 minutes, 30 seconds, which was crazy. But the burger with the fries was so much worse. Like it was just, I felt that for like a full day. Like I couldn't eat. I'm pretty sure, I'm almost positive that after the nuggets, like I still ate like that night. Like I still ate something that night. Like I wasn't cooked after that. The burger and the fries, the pound of fries, like I don't think people realize like a pound of fries, like how much that actually is. It's a lot. Like it's more than I thought it was. When he brought the tray out, I was like, I was like, this looks like it's more than a pound of fries, but I thought I was going to smash through the burger so much faster, and it wasn't going down as easy as I thought it was. And then the fries were just, if I didn't like dunk them in and have water, I would have never been able to do it in that time. But that stuck around a lot longer. So that was kind of like, I didn't like really do any exercise that day because I would have vomited instantly, but I just didn't eat anything the rest of the day. Became a vegetable at night. And then the next morning, I did cardio before I ate anything. I still really wasn't hungry. And then I did that. But honestly, I fast every day pretty much, Monday through Friday anyway. I'm used to that. I don't eat past 6, in between 6 p.m., 7 p.m. is my last meal. So at any point between 6 and 7 is going to be it for me until about 11 in the morning the next day. That's how I operate Monday through Friday. It's something that's worked for me. So that's kind of, I just stuck to that routine after I did the eating, regardless, the eating challenges. And that always like clears me out good.
Gotcha. There you go. So next week, U.S. Open. Who's your pick? Who you got? Oakmont.
Who do you have?
I got James Nicklaus. I think he's a stud. He's a Yale kid. He made the qualifier at Canoe Brook and Summit last week. I think he's on a hot streak. He shot 61. I think it was like a month ago on the Corn Ferry Tour, but I think he's a name to look out for, other than, the obvious ones, but James Nicklaus.
Scotty's playing. Correct?
He is playing.
Yeah. I feel like Xander's due. But Scotty is playing right now. I feel like he's locked into that mode where he's just going to be annoyingly good. Like, people are going to want to root for these other guys, which of course you could root. Listen, you want me to tell you who I think it's going to be Scotty, just because I think he's that locked in. But I said a couple other guys, but we'll see.
Yeah, even me. I want to deny it, but all right. So last question of the day, least notable question. Who's your dream crew to watch NFL Sunday Red Zone with for 7 straight hours? Not commercial free, because now they got commercials, but outside of, your typical crew with, Joey and Bob, like who's some famous guys, 4 guys maybe that you'd like to spend?
Barkley, again, I always come back to Charles Barkley because I just feel like he's like so in my wheelhouse with his interests. I feel like we're very much aligned. So I would say Barkley. You could give me Barkley for one. Man, I got to be honest with you, bro. Like, I got some of my guys from home, some of my buddies from home who I would pick to watch a game over. I mean, if I get the right crew together, man, I mean, the amount of laughs. I mean, it's just So honestly, I know it's going to sound corny, but if you could just give me Charles Barkley and then let me just have like 3 of the guys that I want from my area, who like my real friends, I would take that in a heartbeat. I really would.
I got you. You grew up, watching ball with them. Might as well keep it going. Are they all Giants fans, Jets fans?
We have an eclectic mix. My best friend is actually a Dolphins fan, believe it or not. So he's a Dolphins fan. But for the most part, it's mostly Giants. I would say it's like 70-30 Giants, Jets. And then we have like a couple random sprinkled in. We got like a Raiders fan. We got Dolphins. Another random team that we got that's in the mix there. Well, obviously the Bears for me is like random because like not too many people root for any other. And then Cowboys. I know that's kind of not random, especially not for our area, but we do have Cowboys too. So Cowboys, Jets, Giants, Dolphins, Raiders, Bears is kind of like the teams that me and my friends pay attention to because that's all of our collective teams.
Gotcha. Nothing better. 7 hours with the boys.
No.
Or would you prefer a Saturday of college football if you had to pick between the one or the other?
Yeah, listen, dude, like, Bob always says something, Joe always says something, but to me, college Saturday, I know they love NFL Sunday so much, and I get it. Like, I get it. The NFL product is very well put together and packaged, but I honestly enjoy the college product more. So I enjoy the college product more. But I do understand and recognize how well the NFL packages their product, and they do a great job. But I'm going to pick College Saturday. If I could sit from 12 noon and then all the way through, it used to be when you had the Pac-12 before they got
Pac-12 after dark.
They got rid of it. If you were really, really feeling frisky, then you got Hawaii at midnight.
Hawaii's playing San Jose State
it's a beautiful
starting at
thing.
1 a.m. Yeah.
It's a 12 a.m. Kickoff before I had the kids and everything. That was the dream. Now, I always hope for a good night game because other than the OSU game, which I'll always be able to watch, I don't really get to sit down and lock in until like the 7 o'clocks when my kids are ready to start going to bed. So I always root for big time night games so I could get the most out of it. But yeah, give me the College Saturday, man. I love college.
I agree.
Football.
100% all day. All right, so Mikey V, that's all we got. This was one that I've been wanting to set up since I started this thing a few months ago.
Awesome,
so
bro.
Go follow me on Instagram at BearDownCuz. And then Tuesday, tune into the Brillitantly Dumb Show. I'm sure you guys got another funny challenge coming up. But I really appreciate your time, man. Thank you.
Best of luck to you this season, Nicky. I'm going to have my eye on those Bulldogs, man. We're coming. We're Yale men now. We're men
Absolutely.
of Yale. All right.
We had 3 games on ESPN U last year.
I gotta get like a nice Yale like quarter zip or something like that. I gotta rep
I'll make it happen.
some Yale
Yeah.
gear. And then when people ask me if I went there, I'll just say, yeah, I did. I'll get the automatic academic credibility.
Of course. You got it.
Thanks,
all right,
Nicky.
so